Hello students, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we will go through the NCERT question answers from the chapter Understanding the Weather. I will explain them in a very simple way so that you can easily write them in your exams. Now, let us first start with the big questions given at the beginning of the chapter. First question, how can we measure and monitor the weather around us? Weather affects our daily lives in many ways. Therefore, it is important to measure and monitor the weather around us. We do this by observing different weather elements such as temperature, humidity, rainfall, wind, and atmospheric pressure. And special instruments are used to measure each of these elements. So, you can write the answer as we can measure and monitor the weather using special weather instruments. A thermometer measures the temperature of the air. A hygrometer measures the humidity or moisture present in the air. A rain gauge measures the amount of rainfall, that is precipitation received. A wind vane shows wind direction. An anemometer measures the speed of the wind. A barometer measures atmospheric pressure. And the data collected from these instruments helps us understand and monitor weather conditions. And it also helps meteorologists prepare weather forecasts. Next question, how do weather predictions help us prepare for events like heavy rain, storms, drought, and heat waves? So here you need to think about how weather forecasts are useful in our daily lives. It gives 4 situations: heavy rain, storms, drought, and heat waves. We have to explain how weather conditions help people prepare for each of these events before they happen. So you can write the answer as weather predictions help us prepare for different weather events. If heavy rain is predicted, people can take precautions against floods. If a storm is predicted, people can stay indoors and move to safe places. If a drought is predicted, water can be used carefully and conserved. If a heat wave is expected, people can stay hydrated and avoid going out in extreme heat. Thus, weather predictions help people prepare in advance and stay safe during extreme weather conditions. Now, let's solve the questions and activities given at the end of the chapter. First question, match the instrument with the weather element it measures. So, here you are given a list of weather instruments and a list of weather elements. You have to match each instrument with the weather element it measures. Before matching, let us recall what each instrument does. The hygrometer measures the amount of moisture or water vapor in the air. This is called humidity. An anemometer measures the movement of air, that is the speed of the wind. A barometer measures the atmospheric pressure exerted by the air around us. A thermometer measures the temperature of the air, and a rain gauge measures the amount of rainfall or precipitation received. Second question, Jyotsna is deciding what clothes to pack for her school trip to Mumbai in June. She looks at the weather forecast, which predicts 29 degrees Celsius and 84% humidity. What would be your advice to her? So here, Jyotsna is planning to go on a school trip to Mumbai in June. Before packing her clothes, she checks the weather forecast. The forecast shows temperature is 29 degrees Celsius and humidity is 84%. Now we have to understand what these values tell us about the weather. The temperature of 29 degrees Celsius means the weather will be warm. A humidity of 84% means there is a lot of water vapor in the air. So, high humidity makes the weather feel hot, sticky and uncomfortable because sweat does not evaporate easily. So, if you were Jyotsna, what kind of clothes would you pack? Would you pack thick woolen clothes or light cotton clothes? So, the answer will be Jyotsna should pack light and loose cotton clothes because the temperature is 29 degrees Celsius and the humidity is 84%, which means the weather will be warm and humid. Cotton clothes absorb sweat and help keep the body cool and comfortable. She should carry a water bottle to stay hydrated and an umbrella to protect herself from the sun. Third question. Imagine that a small group of students is setting up a rain gauge. Here are some options for the site: the school vegetable garden, the terrace of the school building, open ground with elevated platform, compound wall of school, veranda of the school laboratory. Discuss in your group and finalize the site. Write down the reasons for your decision. So, we already learned that a rain gauge should be placed in an open area, kept away from objects that might obstruct rain. And it should be placed on a flat surface, positioned so that it does not tilt or topple in the wind. So, now let us compare the given options with these conditions. School vegetable garden. Here, plants may block the rain or cause water to splash into the gauge. So, this is not the right option. Terrace of the school building. The building and strong winds may affect the rainfall measurement. Open ground with elevated platform. This matches all the conditions for setting up a rain gauge. Compound wall of the school. Here, the wall may block rain from one side. Veranda of the school laboratory. The roof will prevent rain from falling directly into the gauge. So, this is also not correct. So, we would choose the open ground with an elevated platform as the site for the rain gauge. The rain gauge should be placed in an open area away from objects that may obstruct rain. It should also be kept at a stable surface so that it does not tilt or topple in the wind. That open ground with an elevated platform satisfies these conditions and helps in measuring rainfall accurately. Fourth question. Below is a chart taken from IMD Jammu and Kashmir. Looking at the data available, write a short script to report the weather conditions in different parts of Jammu and Kashmir on the date shown. Hint, cover the temperature range, maximum and minimum temperatures, humidity, precipitation, etc. So, this chart is a daily weather parameters report issued by the India Meteorological Department, that is IMD, for Jammu and Kashmir on 1st February 2024. So, here each row shows the weather conditions at a different weather station such as Srinagar, Kazigund, Pelgam, Kupwara, Kukarnak, Gulmarg and Muzaffarabad. Before we read the data, we must understand what these abbreviations mean. ACT means actual value recorded at the weather station. NOR means normal, that is the average or usual value expected for that date. DEP means departure from normal, that is the difference between the actual value and the normal value. RF means rainfall, the amount of rainfall received measured in millimeters, that is mm. SN means snowfall, the amount of snowfall received measured in centimeters. TR means trace amount. It means that a very small amount of rain or snow was recorded, but the quantity was too little to be measured accurately. So, read the weather chart and prepare a short weather bulletin describing the weather conditions in the different places shown in the table. Before writing the weather report, we must first understand the information given in the chart. Read the weather data for each place. Look at the maximum and minimum temperatures and observe the rainfall and snowfall received. Check the humidity levels and use this information to prepare a short weather report, just like a weather presenter on television or radio. So, you can write the answer as Weather Report for Jammu and Kashmir, 1st February 2024. Good evening. Here is the weather report for different parts of Jammu and Kashmir. In Srinagar, the maximum temperature was 6.5 degrees Celsius and the minimum temperature was 0.2 degrees Celsius. A trace amount of rainfall was recorded with no snowfall. The relative humidity was 89% in both the morning and evening. In Kazigund, the maximum temperature was 3.2 degrees Celsius and the minimum temperature was minus 0.4 degrees Celsius. The station received 11.8 millimeter of rainfall and 10 centimeter of snowfall. The relative humidity was 97% in the morning and 90% in the evening. In Pahalgam, the maximum temperature was 1.1 degrees Celsius and the minimum temperature was minus 4.1 degrees Celsius. It received 6 millimeter of rainfall and 8 centimeter of snowfall. The relative humidity was 96% in both the morning and evening. In Kupwara, the maximum temperature was 5.1 degrees Celsius and the minimum temperature was minus 0.7 degrees Celsius. The station recorded 0.5 millimeter of rainfall and no snowfall. The relative humidity was 97% in the morning and 94% in the evening. In Kukarnak, the maximum temperature was 2.6 degrees Celsius and the minimum temperature was minus 1.4 degrees Celsius. It received the highest rainfall of 12 millimeter and 8 centimeter of snowfall. The relative humidity was 96% in the morning and 97% in the evening. In Gulmarg, the maximum temperature was minus 2.6 degrees Celsius and the minimum temperature was minus 7.6 degrees Celsius. It received 8.2 millimeter of rainfall and 6.35 centimeter of snowfall. The relative humidity was 76% in the morning and 100% in the evening. In Muzaffarabad, the maximum temperature was 8.5 degrees Celsius and the minimum temperature was 5.6 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity was 93% in the honor. The temperature across the region ranged from minus 7.6 degrees Celsius to 8.5 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad recorded the highest maximum temperature of 8.5 degrees Celsius, while Gulmarg recorded the lowest minimum temperature of minus 7.6 degrees Celsius. Rainfall and snowfall were reported in several places. Kukarnak received the highest rainfall of 12 millimeter, while Kazigun received the highest snowfall of 10 centimeter. The relative humidity was high across most parts of the region. Overall, Jammu and Kashmir experienced cold and humid weather with rainfall and snowfall in many areas. So with this, we have completed the NCERT question and answers for the chapter Understanding the Weather. I hope you found it easy to understand. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. We will see you again in our next video. Bye bye.